An ecosystem so incredibly vast and complex that it almost defies imagination. But look, it's also an ecosystem in profound danger. We're not just going to look at pretty pictures of fish today. We are actively investigating a silent crisis that's unfolding right now beneath the waves. We're going to break down the science, the sheer scale of the problem, and the ultimate stakes of what we might literally lose.
Take a second and just listen to this quote. Imagine a natural wonder so massive it can be seen from space. Now imagine it slowly disappearing. It's a pretty sobering thought, isn't it? The idea that a living, breathing entity stretching across the horizon could just fade away on our watch. But that is the actual reality of the Great Barrier Reef right now. And to figure out why, we need to unpack exactly what's happening beneath the surface. So here is our agenda for today. We're going to cover 4 key things: Earth's largest living structure, the very real threats it's facing, the actual science behind coral bleaching, and crucially, how we can save it. Let's kick things off with Section 1, Earth's largest living structure, a natural wonder.
Okay, to really grasp the stakes here, you have to realize this isn't just one single reef. It's this massive, interconnected ecosystem stretching over 2,300 kilometers. That's roughly 1,400 miles. Just think about that distance for a second. If you were driving that on a highway, it would literally take you days. It's the single largest living structure on Earth, so enormous that broad satellite imagery easily picks it up from space. We always think of natural wonders like the Grand Canyon or Mount Everest, but this biological structure, built by tiny, soft-bodied organisms, absolutely dwarfs them in its geographic footprint.
And you know, it's not just big, it is practically bursting with life. We're talking over 1,500 species of fish. It's like swimming through a bustling, neon-colored underwater city where every single corner reveals something totally new. It's got around 400 different types of hard and soft corals, which basically act as the architecture for this whole metropolis. And it's a critical home for ancient mariners like sea turtles, apex predators like sharks, graceful rays, and pods of dolphins. It's just this beautifully balanced, incredibly interconnected web of life.
But beyond just being gorgeous, why does this actually matter to us? Well, it's not just an environmental issue, it is a serious economic and survival issue. For starters, this massive physical barrier literally protects Australia's coastline from devastating storm surges. It acts as a giant natural breakwater. Economically, it pulls in millions of tourists every single year, which in turn supports thousands upon thousands of local jobs. Entire communities rely on this reef to survive. Plus, it's a huge frontier for scientific and medical research. The cures or solutions to future problems might be hiding right there in the unique biology of these marine species. But, only if they survive.
Which brings us to Section 2, Threats to the Reef. Why is it dying?
The harsh reality is the reef is fighting a multi-front war right now. It's taking hits from absolutely every direction. The biggest overarching threat? Climate change, which is driving up ocean temperatures. Corals are super sensitive to heat, and warmer oceans trigger severe heat stress. We're also seeing way more frequent marine heat waves and much stronger, physically destructive storms. But hey, it's not just global climate issues. Local problems are hitting it hard too. Pollution from farm runoff is dumping excess nutrients into the water, totally throwing off that delicate balance. Throw in plastic pollution and just generally poor water quality, and you've got an ecosystem under absolute siege.
And here is one of the most surprising biological villains, the crown-of-thorns starfish. Look, this is not your average harmless starfish. It's a massive, spiky marine predator that literally eats the living tissue of the coral itself. Now, in a normal, balanced ecosystem, they're just a regular part of the food web. But when water quality tanks, often because of that farm runoff we just talked about, it creates this perfect breeding ground for them. Their populations just explode into these massive outbreaks. They essentially act like a plague of locusts, stripping a reef totally bare and causing catastrophic damage.
Let's move on to Section 3. What is coral bleaching? Let's get into the science of stress.
To really get how bleaching works, you have to look at this pretty fascinating roommate situation. The coral animal itself is actually clear. It lives in a symbiotic relationship with these tiny, microscopic algae that live right inside its tissues. The algae photosynthesize, providing the coral with its main food source, and they're what give the coral those vibrant, amazing colors. But when the water gets dangerously hot, the coral gets totally stressed out. In a panic response, the stressed coral actually evicts the algae, so it loses its food source and its color, instantly turning a stark, ghostly white.
So you can see this stark contrast. When a reef is healthy, it's bursting with vibrant colors from well-fed organisms. But under severe stress, the coral turns a ghostly white and, this is the really critical part, it actually begins to starve. Now,
Here is a crucial takeaway. A bleached coral is not a dead coral. Yet, it's just highly stressed and super vulnerable. If the water temperatures cool down soon enough, the coral can actually welcome those algae back and miraculously recover. But if that heat wave sticks around, the coral will eventually starve to death, leaving behind nothing but a crumbling, lifeless skeleton.
Let's shift gears to Section 4. Can we save it? Solutions and conservation. The situation is definitely critical, absolutely, but it is not hopeless. Fixing this requires a serious two-pronged approach: immediate local interventions paired with massive global efforts. Locally, in Australia, there's incredible work being done. Establishing strict marine protected areas gives the reef some real breathing room to recover. We're also seeing truly innovative coral restoration projects, literally farming and replanting heat-resistant corals. Plus, aggressively cutting down farm pollution and shifting to sustainable tourism are huge defensive moves. But those local efforts are really only half the battle. Globally, the only way to stop these relentless marine heat waves is by significantly reducing greenhouse gas emissions. You just can't fix the reef without fixing the climate.
So what I really want you to take away from this explainer is that the Great Barrier Reef is so much more than just a beautiful vacation spot. It is a fundamental, load-bearing pillar of Earth's biodiversity. And its future depends entirely on a combination of those precise, local protective actions and the broader, sweeping actions that all of us take globally to cool our planet down. By understanding this delicate balance, supporting informed conservation efforts, and tackling our global carbon footprint, we actually hold the power to stabilize this ecosystem.
Which brings us to the ultimate question we have to ask ourselves, doesn't it? Will future generations actually get to see this natural wonder? Will they get to dive into a vibrant, bustling underwater city of 1,500 fish species? Or will they only read about a ghost town of white, crumbling skeletons? The science tells us exactly what is happening, and it tells us exactly how to fix it. The choice of whether we act in time, well, that is entirely up to us. Thanks so much for joining me today. Keep asking those big questions and keep exploring.